recording. No cold opening because we are the cousins.
Yes.
But the theme song, as you know, I say the name of the character. Oh no, you say the name of the character this time, and then I'll say a line following it. So you'll say like Todd, and then I'll say a line relating to Todd. Or do you want me to say Todd and you say a line relating to Todd?
I'll say Todd.
You say Todd, okay. And action.
Todd.
Youngest son of Ned and Maud.
Todd.
Impressionable member of the family.
Todd.
Brown shoes, blue shorts, the devil's curly.
Todd.
Don't want no damn vegetables.
Todd.
His freaking ears.
Todd.
Pixie sticks, go to hell, zip face. My newsboy cap.
Todd.
There he goes, episode 6 now of the Cast. We are Lawrence M. Nightingale, that's you, and I am Flimsy Rosewater. This morning, I've just been lining the curtains with some off-ray double-sided satin ribbon. We are the Lickers of Dusty Tomes located in the bowels of the disused stadium in Springfield Park and down the tunnels to the town halls of Lee, employed to put the Simpsons files into spotty archives and to haphazardly document the lives of Springfield's backwater. Bon nuit, guten Abend, and Hanyon Haseo.
Welcome, Bill Comen.
So one thing I've noticed, Lawrence, is that we don't know much about you. Can you give us a fact about Lawrence M. Nightingale to help us to, just make more of a connection with you?
I am allergic to shellfish.
Is that because you think they don't like to share things?
Yes. I also don't like shellfish people.
As I said earlier, I'm a ribbon aficionado, and I'm currently lining our curtains with some off-ray double-sided satin ribbon. So
They look good.
Today we're going to be talking about Todd, no other than Todd. What rank would you say Todd was? Is he an A-lister, a B-lister, or some other lister?
I'd put him in B or C. Probably B, maybe C. B.5.
And why is that, Lawrence?
He has a couple of episodes, but that's about it. Nothing pivotal, but a constant. He is a constant.
He's been there from the very beginning.
He has.
So, look there. It's a little spider in the dust.
Oh yeah, again. He looks like he's wearing a little Roman centurion helmet.
Yes, and he's got a little shield, and he's got like little red plumes on top of his helmet, and little cheek guards.
Looks like he's guarding something.
Interesting. And of course, our cat over there, Baroness Berry the Vale of Catmose.
Who is responsible for free schools.
And university technical colleges, apparently.
And academies and multi-academy trusts, faith schools, home education and supplementary schools.
Well, let's hope she does a good job in taking care of those. And, last but not least, over there, a little mouse in a mouse hole.
Oh yes, I can see a few of them.
Yeah, they seem to be dressed as a mix between Norman and medieval forest dwellers.
They do, and they seem to be holding some kind of spiritual event.
Well, all of that seems very strange to all be taking place in our little dusty office, but who knows? Maybe we're in the middle of some kind of magical and whimsical circle that we just don't know about. Who knows?
Seems that way.
Here's a letter from Kurt Vonnegut.
Wonderful.
But I'm not going to open it this week. We'll save that for another day. We've talked about cast connections so far, and some of the connections we've seen is death, glasses, school, mobs, characters that annoy Matt Groening, and a love connection. Do any of these fit with Todd?
Possibly the school, cool and uncool, and death. That's pretty much it. He's not a mobber. Well, he has one love connection in this episode, but don't want to get too ahead of ourselves.
Let's not do any spoilers. And so, without any further ado, let's leap straight into some content. Got a lot of feedback from the internet that they like the content. They like the nonsense, but they love the content. Let's get right in there, because there is but one Todd, and his name is Todd. All Todds.
Todd.
So, clip 1. Do you want to give people some context, or shall I just jump right in?
Todd.
So, clip 1. Season 1, episode 1. Simpsons roasting on an open fire. Homer comes out of the shop with a bag. He runs into Ned, who whose arms are full of presents. And he straight into Ned, and Ned knocks Homer to the floor as if he's a little paper man. And this is this Ned's first appearance? And standing next to him is Todd. Todd is toddling along, and he's got the devil's curly hair there. And this kind of sets the scene for years more of Simpsons trouble. Todd kind of has a poker face, just like his mama. And Ned leans over Homer and tries to pick him up and says, "Simpson, it's you." And Todd, as he will do so many times in the future, is looking down at Homer.
Yeah, it's a good shot of Todd looking down at them. I think, this is the first episode, so this is Todd's and Ned's debut scene, and they are together, which I remember saying a few weeks ago that Rod and Ned are more connected, and then going back on it, and this is one of the reasons I went back on it. I think he also has a different voice here, but we don't hear it.
Not hearing this clip. What's he thinking here about Homer Simpson? Because it's not the first time he's run into Homer, of course.
No, he literally ran into Homer straight from the womb, directly into Homer's hands.
He did. Homer's were the first hands he ran into, the first human face that Todd saw. And this a recent revelation. This show goes back, 30 years now, right?
1989, like 32 years ago, Todd first met Homer, and now we know this information too.
But, this isn't really much of an appearance for Todd, so let's move on to some more meatier appearances. It's a long, strange Todd. It's a Todd strange journey that he's been on. Clip 2, episode 18, The Adventures of Three Students. Todd, now appearing to take the form of an anthropomorphic dog, dressed in a beautiful pale blue suit, is attempting to climb out of a tiny window in some kind of stone clock tower. Behind him is a wolf dressed in a wonderful white suit, gloves, top hat, and splendid orange shoes. Todd is wearing a green flat cap, and he's really struggling to get out of this window. The white-suited wolf is pushing his arse through, but there's a long way to go. Todd is sweating. He's in trouble now. 3 new dogs come around the corner and start wailing on Todd's face. Not sure why. While the wolf, who is also wearing a monocle, says, "Be patient, I'm pushing," and is literally pushing Todd's face into the fists of the 3 angry dogs. 2 of the dogs are repeatedly punching Todd's face, while the dog in the middle is strangling him with an ascot. A further anthropomorphic dog comes up the path steps, which look very precarious, by the way, as there is a sheer drop. "Ah!" exclaims the new dog. He's also wearing a very cool powder blue suit. These are very sharp dresses, these dogs. The dog who's wearing like braces, are they called braces? Is that what we call them? They call them suspenders in the US of A. We call them braces over here. Punches Todd so hard that he flies back into the building and knocks the wolf over. They seem to have a suitcase and bags that possibly contain gold doubloons. What is this caper? What has Todd got himself into here?
Yeah, it seems more likely that they would pick Rod for this situation. Rod has a more physical comedy background in The Simpsons, so it's strange that Todd was the one they chose to put in this window. It's nice that he's finally made some friends outside of Springfield Elementary, even if they are anthropomorphic. Anthropomorphic? How do you say that word?
Anthropomorphic,
sentient, adult, Italian, Japanese dogs. So I don't know what... He's obviously trying to help someone, then I realised that these aren't really new friends because they just pummel Todd. That one that sort of rocks up in the middle looks vaguely concerned for Todd. The one near the sheer drop.
That could well be Rod.
Yeah, that could be Rod. He has a cute little hat. But ultimately, this is a scary situation for Todd. I don't think he would like this.
The thing that sets me off thinking that maybe it's not real is that he's a dog. So is this a dream? Is it an alternate reality? Or are we somehow looking through some kind of filter? Why is he a dog?
It could be a Tracer horror situation, but I don't think this is the dream sequence. I think one of our clips is a dream sequence, but it's not this one. This is very real. And sadly, if Todd had had his normal body, he would have just fit through that window, no problem.
Yeah, so somehow the dog body didn't help him. I'm not sure who that very dapper wolf is, but the wolf seems to be on Todd's side. So do we know why this wolf has partnered up with Todd? or as to why they have bags full of gold around them?
I'm not sure, but I would speculate that that might be database.
Goodness me, this whole thing is it's bizarre, I have to say.
Maybe it's some kind of online game, and these are the avatars we are seeing.
Yeah. Whoever built that clock tower has little regard for safety. There's no guardrail, and it seems like there's a sheer drop.
It looks very dangerous intentionally, but castles were built that way sometimes
With the steps on the outside.
to thin out the numbers.
That's true, right? Yeah, they kept the staircases round and thin for a whole bunch of reasons, not least to stop the marauders from getting in. Well, I have to say, this is a bit of a left turn from all of the Todd stuff we've seen so far.
Yes, it's sort of like their version of 5G, those stairs, just to take out some of the population secretly.
Exactly. Did the European Union build those too?
Yes.
Yes. Well, I'd like to know what David Icke thinks about outside stairs on clock towers. He lives just down the road from Auntie Sheila. We should ask him.
We should. He probably like the dog people. He'd probably think they were probably like celebrities of some kind.
He'd say, I knew it. I knew it all along.
Meghan Markle is a dog woman.
Is that what he says?
No, but he says the Queen's a lizard, so it's not a stretch, really, is it?
Seems strange that he would pick the least royal of all of them, but she is Hollywood, so maybe that's got Ike's irk up.
Yes, Paul Hollywood.
I think Ike would be okay with Markle because she got herself out the royal family. He'd be like, "Good on you, good on you." You know, he wouldn't like Prince Andrew.
Bill. Yes, no, nobody likes Andrew. Nobody likes Millhouse.
What? They're all very sharply dressed, and that's one thing I'll give these dogs. And is there any more to add to that clip?
No.
The bizarre left turn. But it doesn't stop there. Clip 3. Todd, wearing a denim shirt, now has long hair in a ponytail. He's clearly several years later. Looks like in his mid-20s. It's a very busy street. He stops. He looks one way, but not the other. He is on a hot roll. He's running across the street when a mysterious white van sends him sprawling to the floor. Violence seems to follow Todd everywhere as death follows Maud. Todd hits the ground. He spins a 720. He's in great pain and his ponytail is wet. Cut to car interior. Jim is on the cell phone saying, Paul and I are on the way to Erinsborough Hospital. Paul, who I imagine is the driver, says, get out of the way. Jim has an Australian accent and can barely muster up even a splinter of emotion. And he goes, Todd has been run over. Yeah, I'm not sure where this Erinsborough is. I looked it up. It doesn't appear on any maps. It seems like 2 Australians. It seems like Todd might be in Australia. He's got a ponytail. This is another wild left turn for Todd.
It is. I think he's still in Springfield. I think there's just some Australians knocking about. I do find it very hard to believe he would run out into the road in such a fashion. Like, he must have been very busy.
Very busy.
It's not
into him.
It's not the goings on of a Flanders child to throw caution to the wind in such a fashion. The double denim, I've noted, fits into that I don't give a crap attitude Todd has, like with the vegetables and stuff.
He wears denim wherever he goes. He said he's going to get some records by the status quo. Oh, yeah.
The
double denim fits Todd to a T.
It does. He takes a real hit from that car as well, but he looks in pain, but he doesn't cry.
Doesn't cry.
The way that I think Rod would.
He doesn't whimper. He doesn't make a sound until emotionless Jim scrapes him up off the street and takes him to Erinsborough Hospital.
Yes, he seems very matter-of-fact about it as well on the phone. Charles Widmore. And what was that? Who do you think is driving the van that hits him?
Oh, driving the van that hits him, Hans Moleman, without a doubt.
Yes, I also said that.
Oh, yeah. Anywhere where there's a traffic incident, Moleman's going to be at the centre of that.
Yeah. Whoever's taken him to the hospital, whether it be this Jim character or Charles Widmore, the other from Lost, is not particularly bothered. And I assume he's phoning either Maud or Ned.
Yeah, not particularly bothered. Hi, Maud. Yes? Bloody Todd's in the bloody hospital. Oh, no. What's happened? And I'm a bit tired. So the guy playing Jim in this scene, an actor who left the show over a falling out with the producers over pay, following which the character of Jim was killed off.
Nice.
April 1993.
Heart attack.
I don't know how Jim ended up dying. Maybe he fell out of the car and was run over by the same white van in some comedic incident. Anyway, Todd, I imagine, do we find out later in the episode whether Todd makes a full recovery? Is he in a wheelchair with a full body cast or something like that?
I think he's just okay. Again, he doesn't have his mother's genetics. He just bounces back from this. From the looks of things, anyway, he doesn't seem to be ultimately affected.
Well, that's good. And the ponytail, what's going on there? What happened to the devil's curly hair? It must have taken him an arm and a leg to get those curls out into a ponytail.
I think it's a wig.
A wig?
I think he's wearing a wig. I think he might be he might be late for some kind of school production.
What school production would involve him donning a ponytail and double denim? Now, that's a rock song waiting to happen.
Like the President song, but for one-hit wonders.
And who would this one-hit wonder be who was wearing a ponytail and double denim?
Bon Jovi.
John Bon Jovi. JBJ. Anything more to add?
No, I don't think so. I think that's it for that one.
So what we did is we bumped the biography version from the beginning of the episode to here, but let's stop this train for a moment and just do a little bit of Todd biography. So I've got some Todd facts for you, and you can throw in your own.
Let's do it.
There is but one Todd, and his name is Todd. All Todds.
Todd.
Todd was born in Rangoria, Todd County, South Dakota, and raised in Todd Township, Huntington County, Pennsylvania. He is a native of Philadelphia. His middle name is Harry, and he was born on June the 22nd. Todd Township, which is by the ephemeral Todd River, pronounced as Le Rambarntois, by the indigenous people who live in that area, has its origins in the McDonnell Ranges as it flows past the telegraph station through Heavy Tea Gap, passing through the western part of the Simpson Desert as it becomes a tributary of the Hale River. When it does flow, it carries a heavy sediment picked up from the grazing land of the Bond Springs, where it lends its waters a milky chocolate color and renders them completely opaque. Todd is a human male who previously lived rent-free in his friend's house. He is a notoriously lazy slacker and is frequently told to clean up his shit. Todd is also very creative and can work tirelessly when he discovers something that interests him. His shenanigans have got him into a range of situations and occupations, and he officially came out as asexual after moving in with Maud, a rabbit that he found on a dating app. He decides to move in with Maud and start a nannying service. Do you have any Todd facts you want to add to that? I've got many more, but do you have some?
Yeah, I have a few. He is an English-Irish actor and director. His stage appearances have ranged from pantomime to serious drama, but he is best known for TV roles as Tucker Jenkins in Grange Hill and Tucker's Luck, Mark Fowler in EastEnders, and PC Gabriel Kent in The Bill.
Yes. So Tucker's Luck was a spin-off show from Grange Hill in which Tucker left Grange Hill. People of my generation were remembering Gripper Stebson was Tucker Jenkins' nemesis, and Tucker was a cheeky chappy. He then went on to play Mark Fowler in EastEnders, I believe the first HIV positive character on British TV. He's also a retired captain of the New Zealand national team, where he played 14 times for the All Blacks. And he started his career as a blindside flanker, but he transformed into a lock.
I also have that he was educated at the Fildine Stage School, a co-educational independent school in Chiswick in West London. His first television appearance in the UK was in an advert for Woolworths at the age of 4, and he has also had other public information film roles, including one with Doctor Who actor John Pertwee for the Green Cross Code. Nice.
So you would think from doing his advertisement, he would look more before he ran out into the street.
You'd think so, wouldn't you?
He's a multi-instrumentalist, singer-songwriter and record producer who has performed a diverse range of musical styles. He's known for sophisticated and unorthodox music and occasionally lavish stage shows. He has produced music videos and was an early adopter of various computer technologies. His album, A Wizard, a True Star, influenced a generation of bedroom musicians, and notable production credits include Grand Funk Railroad's We're an American Band, the New York Dolls' debut LP, Meatloaf's Bat Out of Hell, and XTC's Skylarking.
Excellent.
His middle
The,
name
the
is
last
Todd.
middle name, Todd.
Middle name is Todd. Todd,
Yes.
Harry, Todd, Homer, Flanders.
Goodman.
Goodman.
The last fact I have is that he was or is a frequent recurring guest judge on RuPaul's Drag Race, except for All Stars 2, where he was a permanent judge.
I have two more that I will add to this. He's a film director, and in the early 2000s, he directed Road Trip, Old School, and Starsky and Hutch. He came to prominence in the early 2010s for directing the Hangover film series, and in 2019, he co-wrote and directed the psychological thriller Joker, which won the Golden Lion at the 76th Venice International Film Festival. His nickname is TODD, that old dynamite dick. He owns a large corporation in New Zealand with the Todd family. Currently, 200 direct blood members of Sir John Todd, who was the chairman from 1987, and now Sir Brian Todd. They have their fingers in the pies of Integria Healthcare, Todd Energy, Todd Minerals, and Todd Property. And there's many more facts where that came from.
Yes, Todd is a Scottish nickname meaning a clever or wily person.
Also, Bob Mortimer uses it for shit regularly
Yeah.
on Athletico Mints. Whether or not that is an actual slang term from the northeast of England or whether Bob Mortimer has made it up, I don't know. One thing is sure, Todd has much, much more going on than we thought from the original few clips we've encountered Todd so far.
Yeah, he's all over the place. He's having what I would describe as a whale of a time.
He's what we in the business might call a renaissance man or woman.
Todd.
Shall we move back to the clips?
Yes.
Clip 4. We're in the study room and Britta is stood on the table. She sets fire to a piece of paper, which Jeff tries to grab. But Britta manages to drop the paper into a waste paper basket. Todd screams, "No, the turtle is in there." And he reaches down into the smoking bin, picks up the turtle. Britta is shocked. "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." But that is enough for Todd. He stands up and shouts at the group, "What is wrong with you people?" He's holding the turtle. His devil's curly hair has come back, and he appears now to be in his mid-30s. He's dressed down in a plaid or checked shirt and a backpack. "Ha!" he screeches. "I thought you were supposed to be friends." He's very emotional, maybe the most emotional we've ever seen Todd. Although he did get pretty emotional when he was being wailed upon earlier. Jeff is scowling at him. Annie and Shirley are taken aback. "I thought you were supposed to love each other." Todd looks around at these macabre friends. "Your love is weird and toxic and destroys everything it touches." He motions towards the turtle. The group are dismayed. Todd says, "I'm going home." And he's now in tears almost, and he's resolute. "I'm going to hold my wife and my child close, and I'm going to finally take my insulin shot." I bet he's taken aback. Uh-oh, guilty look on his face. Todd points at the group. "Offense taken. Offense taken," and turns and leaves.
Fantastic. This has a very Rick and Morty feel to it, this clip. It seems apt that Todd would have a pet turtle. That's in line with the pets that we've seen Todd have, like Woodpecker. And I think Baz is supposed to be like a boxer or possibly a French bulldog. Style-wise, his hair is back, but he's rocking a like mid-2000s indie sort of vibe that continues the looseness of the double denim.
Somewhere in between, the younger Todd seems to have more of a penchant, is that the word? He has a
Penchant.
He has a penchant for pale, powdery blue shirts, polo shirts, a very preppy look. He's definitely dressing down now with the double denim and the plaid shirt.
I would also argue that he's not in his 30s. I would say he's like 22.
Really?
I thought he was supposed to be quite young, and that's why it's sort of funny that he has a wife and child. But I've just written, has he lost his mind when he says that about having a wife and child? Unless Ned does collect Humbleton figurines, so it is possible Ned, ka-ching, Todd has a small dollhouse or something, and he is just talking about a fictional wife and child.
Now, we saw earlier that Todd had come out as asexual, but also moved in with some kind of rabbit woman named
Yes, also called Freudian.
Very Freudian.
If anything was going to make Todd flip, though, I think somebody setting fire to his pet would be up there. Turtle arson. And
Turtle arson, yeah.
it reminded me of Ned's sort of mental breakdown, which we're going to be coming to our cousins are going to be coming to very soon. It reminded me of that. He wasn't particularly nasty here, but just, yeah, snapping where he has to tell the truth is it definitely comes from Ned and Maud.
So piecing together this kind of like things, it looked like he was in his teenage years when he had the both the anthropomorphic dog phase and the double denim phase. Both seemed like he was in maybe his teen years. And now we've fast forwarded a little bit. I thought he was in his 30s. You say he's in his 20s. I'll give you that. He has a very big forehead in this. One thing he mentions is his insulin. So we know that the rumor is over there on their podcast is that Rod has diabetes and needs insulin.
Yeah.
And that's why Maud got so angry when she was offered sugar. Does Todd also have diabetes?
No, I think he's playing up to the audience here. I think he knows that Rod struggles and has to leave to take insulin, so he will occasionally steal it. Or just, it's not really pity, but just to further his point that other people have things going on.
Quite a twisted character who does these kind of things then.
Yeah, but also I think at this point, Todd is in the right somewhat. Like he wants to make the point of you aren't the only people in the world. There's other people in Springfield and we all have problems. Chevy.
Well, this is the thing. Like, it seems like he's at some kind of college here. So it's like maybe he didn't pass his exams in school. He didn't go on to college. Maybe Rod did. Todd didn't. He took a different path, and now he's back in his 20s. Back in college with a new gang of wacky friends.
Now that's the spin-off we needed. That's the Tucker's look I wanted to see.
That's the what's the Cosby one called? Different World is the Cosby spin-off. That was Lisa Bonet went to college, and Shirley's husband in this Todd scene, played by Cosby's son in the show, Malcolm Jamal Warner. That's it.
Yeah, that was it. That's the one.
On the tip of our tongues. He's in that. So the net is cast far and wide for that particular series of episodes in Todd's life. And I, for one, want to go back and visit that many, many, many times. Maybe on a weekly basis.
It seems likely we'll come up to it in the Malcolm Jamal Warner cast.
The MJW cast, which is definitely on the horizon.
Yeah.
Clip 5. Now, we've seen Todd go through some dark times, but I got to say, brace yourself because it doesn't get much darker than Todd's next move. Todd is in the desert with Jesse and Walter. Young lad drives up on a motorbike and pops up and waves nervously at the three of them. Todd, who now has kind of short, sandy, ginger hair, and I say, is this really Todd? He's changed a lot in the few years since we've seen him, but those things happen. Todd raises his hand and waves and gives a small smile to the child, then reaches into the back of his waistband for a pistol. Jesse screams no. Walter does not move. Todd shoots the child, knocking him from the bike, killing him possibly. The kid hits the ground. Jesse screams no, no, no. Scene ends. What's going on, Todd? Todd, why have you forsaken me?
Exactly. This is the one I thought was a dream, because where you were saying Jesse, I am only seeing a good Todd. So I think Todd is having some kind of dream where he's evidently hanging out with Malcolm's dad. And there's only 4 characters in this scene, and 2 of them are Todd. So that's telling that it might be some kind of dream sequence representing the duality of Todd. Good Todd screams out against evil Todd's desires, but ultimately evil Todd wins and pops that kid.
Maybe the Todd on the bike is a Todd. Maybe the boy on the bike is a young Todd, and this dream represents sandy-haired Todd killing his younger self metaphorically as his older, younger dream self screams, stop, stop, stop. And who is the man who watches on? Who is the one who knocks? Who is the one who stands there? And is that Ned? Is it a version of an older Ned, a bolder, older Ned?
It kind of looks like Ned and has a similar-ish trajectory. But yeah, I think this is a dream. I think Todd is everyone in some way. And he's reacting to the loss of innocence.
What is the meaning of the dream? The loss of innocence, the self, the duality of the self, the adult self, murdering the dreams of the young.
There is also the option that Todd just grew up and shot a kid.
Todd grew up to be a criminal who hangs out in the desert, probably cooking up meth, knowing those characters, and taking pops at young innocent kids and killing them. I'd like to think that unless more evidence is produced, I'm going to go with the dream theory. It's beautiful, it makes sense, and it also means that we don't then have to celebrate a murderer for the rest of this episode.
That is true.
So it is more interesting. Kurt Vonnegut, who wrote us that letter earlier, in fact, it's probably what he says in it. He says, you got to make the heroes go through hell. But I think, is there a way back? After you've shot a child in the desert for no good reason, unless maybe the child was a master criminal or on their way to murder Todd. Context is everything.
And unfortunately, we don't have much to go off with that. And we have seen Todd have another dream, so it is likely we know that Todd dreaming is something that we could encounter.
Well, I like that one. I like the take. So I was thinking, oh, this is going to really knock us off track here because this is the side of Todd we've never seen before. But no, it still fits. And you know what? It really fits in with Maud's diary. I listen to our cousins. They have a diary every week. And I got to say, Maud throws up some pretty dark imagery herself in those diaries.
She does. She's a dark soul.
So can I throw in another fact about Todd, as we have so many of them?
Yeah.
Todd, also known as the warrior tribe of darkness, strong, formidable opponents that work under the command of General Crossus. Todd warriors are low in numbers due to the destruction of their dimension. They are careless of others, but will do exactly what they are told. Sounds a lot like goblins, not hobgoblins, regular goblins.
Just regular. Sounds like Todd's personality, though.
Yeah. He also invented a drink called a hot toddy, as you probably well know, which is water with honey, sometimes sugar, sometimes tea, herbs, spices. Hot toddy recipes and varies, and they're traditionally drunk before retiring for the night in wet or cold weather to relieve the symptoms of cold and flu. They are the vitamin C for health, the honey to soothe, and the alcohol to numb.
Wonderful.
Do you think Todd invented it, or do you think he just identifies with it because it shares his name?
I think he invented it a la a flaming Homer by accident, by just putting stuff together.
And does he frequent the world of the hot toddy to send him off to sleep? And maybe that's why he has these vivid Freudian nightmares.
I would assume so.
How about clip 6?
Yes.
Todd is in a town hall, and he now seems to be in England. Everyone's speaking English with an English accent. He's now balding. The devil's curly hair is gone. Todd's number is called, and he comes in and sits down and introduces himself, and he says, I want to grab a liquor license. The lady behind the desk says, you have to apply first, sarcastically, and he says, that's what I'm doing, sarcastically. He's a bit chubby, maybe in his mid-40s, still wearing the plaid shirt, now with a fancy jacket he's trying to impress. The woman asks him, what is the nature of your business? He says, oh, it's not for me. It's a gift for a little cafe I know. I'd love to be able to go in there and crack a beer. She says, is this a wind-up? Todd, not knowing what she means, says, oh, like a watch? Oh, you're asking me what time it is. And the lady says, okay, Mr. Margaret. And is that a pseudonym? Is he using a false name? I'm going to have to ask you to leave. Todd replies, I think Mr. Benjamin might have something to say about that. She says, Mr. Benjamin. And Todd pats his pocket and says, yes, Mr. Benjamin Franklin. And the woman replies, the American statesman who invented bifocals? And Todd says, well, I don't know about that, but he did invent something called the $100 bill. He then goes on to try and bribe her but she clearly doesn't know, and he realizes that he's in England and he has to use the people on English money, but he doesn't know who they are. So he guesses Winston Churchill, Shakespeare, Hitchcock, Winnie the Pooh, a bulldog, the Beatles, an old lady drinking tea, tiny Tony Blair, and finally King Kong, because they have a king. In an attempt to bribe her, and he gets down on his knees to have a look at the money, and it turns out it's Adam Smith, the economist, and he's then asked to leave without the liquor license.
This is Todd's funniest scene that we're looking at. Compared to the darkness of the rest of them, this is a nice look at comedy Todd, looking like Kirk.
Yes. Going in there to borrow a liquor license.
Can you lend me a jar of
liquor?
Honey? Yes. This is Lynn Benfield, and I didn't know that we'd ever seen Todd cross over with any other characters from other TV shows.
Yeah, so what is she known for?
She is Alan Partridge's assistant.
She is, isn't she? That's it. Yes, and she's very good. I want to see much more of Todd making what seem to be increasingly poor decisions. and
Yeah.
and it's a brilliant spin-off, and it's hard. It's strange that we never came across this. There's no mentions to it in The Simpsons. Todd went off and lived this rich and vicarious, is that the right word, vicarious, lived this vivid experience, and we didn't hear Hyde nor her about that.
No. If the money had biblical figures on it, I think Todd would have done fine here. But I think, Ned and Maude would do the same. Blackmail-wise, none of them are going to be particularly very good at it, I don't think.
He absolutely failed to bribe this lady and was asked to lead the office, which he did in a huff. This is the only scene where he gets a bit angry, but it's the only scene where he doesn't either get angry or violence is involved.
That's true. He's a violent child. He's a little ball of anger.
He has grown up to be a little ball of anger, and that's very much in line with Neddy, and also, losing his mother and his stepmother. But
Yes.
So he managed to trace him all through basically in almost chronological order into his 40s, where he seems to have a bit of a roller coaster that may or may not involve him going to Australia and England. Which is
it's good. It's good to see he's had such a broad scope.
It makes me think about what Rod's been up to in this time, and we do see a few forward flashes. So we know that he heads back to Springfield at some point to help out his blind Popper, assuming that these forward flashes are real. But the Simpsons they'll often do predictions that they no longer stand by, such as Homer being a teenager in the 70s and in the 90s now.
And on the Todd note, Todd debuted in 1989 and was born in 2015.
Time is a weird thing over there in Springfield. So clip 7. Now you included this one, and you're going to have to give me some Todd context, some Todd text. Now, would you like to do that before I go through or after?
I'll tell you why I included it. Because Todd is the boyfriend of the girl in the back of the car, and it's interesting just to see his response to someone else, or lack of response.
Do we see Todd in this clip at all, or do we have to imagine what he's thinking?
No, he's completely absent.
Well, let's not keep these people in suspense. So we're flashing back a little bit. So I'm assuming Todd at this point is in his late teens.
I'd say like 15, probably.
15-year-old Todd. Okay, so maybe around the time of the ponytail white van incident earlier.
Yes, maybe slightly earlier than that.
Clip 7. A man comes out of a shop. He is not hatless. I repeat, he is not hatless. 3 youths are attempting to pry open the doors to a garage. A young woman in a cardigan appears on the scene. The You and Me song by the Wannadies plays. The doors burst open and we see a garage is filled with fumes. A man is sat poker-faced in the driver's seat. Next to him, Gail is tied up with a bandage around her face. There seems to be someone in the back seat. Bad times. People are spluttering in front of the door of the garage as the fumes come out. The man sits poker-faced, and I've written, "It is not Todd. Where is Todd?" Didn't know the context, but now I do. The driver, stone-faced, he floors the car and it speeds out of the garage, and the splutterers die for safety, and the hatted man is shocked. The driver speeds away, almost hits another car, and horns are sounded. The cardigan girl turns. "What is going on?" she exclaimed. It seems the youth, young lad in the back seat, has freed himself and is now attacking the driver. "Get off!" He pushes her back. Gail grabs for the wheel and there is swerving. "Get off!" shouts young male, but the driver is determined. Young male shouts, "Dad!" Gail shouts, "Richard, stop the car!" Gail is screaming. Richard resolutely shouts, "This is it!" He screams, "I love you!" as he drives the car directly towards the icy pond. Male youth shouts, "Dad!" Gail is screaming as they go into roller coaster mode, and we get 3, count them, 3 shots of the car hitting the icy lake as the car sinks into the abyss. Thankfully, Todd is nowhere to be seen. Cliffhanger.
Todd, yeah. Todd has nothing to do with this, to be honest, but it is pivotal going forward. At the very start, Richard, the man driving, has a very dead-eyed, Maud look about him. When they open the garage doors, he just looks like that middle distance, checked out of the scene mentally thing that we're used to from Maud Flanders. That's a fun connection. I don't know how you're planning on gassing a family when there's a slight hole under the garage doors. Sideshow Bob would be ashamed of that plan. Yeah, I've just written where is Todd while all this is unfolding? There's like 4 or 5 residents of Springfield who are on the streets watching, even the diabetic girl in the cardigan who ultimately ate sugar until she died. Even she's on the street, and Todd can't be bothered getting off his ass to do anything. A lot of time passes between them being in that garage and the fight for control over the wheel that we see. So he must have this song on repeat, which is interesting. We don't get a lot of music in this episode other than this. And Gail has a duck face.
She does.
Just before they drive into a canal. How deep are Manchester canals?
Oh, is this Manchester? So somehow he's gravitated north because he was in London. And why is he over in Manchester at 15 years old? What's going on there?
Well, it's Manchester Springfield.
Oh, it's Manchester Springfield. Okay, but isn't Springfield a city?
Yeah, Manchester's a city within the city of Springfield.
Oh, Manchester is like a mini city inside Springfield.
Yeah, it's like Little Manchester.
Manchester's around in the United States. I went to one, Manchester, Vermont, and there's Manchester, New Hampshire, where Jed Bartlett comes from.
Birmingham, Alabama. I've been close by. I've been to Tuscaloosa.
Tuscaloosa, Wigan.
Yes. Sarah Louise didn't die, so Todd has no need to seek any vengeance.
Okay.
But I imagine he would. This is where the bad Todd dream would come out, and he would shoot Richard on a bike, given the chance.
With or without damn vegetables, no doubt.
Richard dies here and stays dead permanently, a la Maud Flanders. But he did apparently make a return in a DVD special, which is also very Maud.
How is that possible?
I don't know. It's probably better not to question these things, but needless to say, he had the last laugh. Yeah, I think Todd, he must be at home or at church. He's got to be physically away from this happening, or he would have been front and center, I believe.
You got to imagine so. I imagine he's quite a caring young man, and so if he was dating Sarah Louise, and I don't know what Maud and Ned would have to say about that, but Maud's already gone, throwing a 7, right? Rung up the choir.
Yeah, Maud's popped it already at this point. Her face is already smashed all over that stadium car park.
Good Lord.
There's still a tooth in the cement they can't get out.
Violence follows us everywhere, him everywhere. So that's it. That's our trip down Toddery Lane.
It was wild.
It was wild. We want a couple more Todd facts before we move on to some Todd art today. Todd is the villain of the Victorian Penny Dreadful series, The String of Pearls. Interesting that this was set even before he was born, by the sounds of it, or maybe these are like retro ones. It was a tale of melodrama from a barber who murdered his customers with a razor and turned their bodies over to his partner, Mrs. Lovett, to bake their flesh into meat pies. Oh, good Lord, that doesn't sound like our Todd.
He's very, very dark. The older he gets is what we're learning. How Maud had that side of the dark side of Maud. She tended, at a word, to hide. And it seems like Todd has just embraced it the older he got, which we did see in the dream, the metaphorical dream. Ultimately, dark Todd did win and clocked little Drew in the face or the chest.
Well, it gets worse because Todd is also a vigilante, described as the Red Hood. He was originally popular, but he was killed off through a lack of popularity from a telephone pole, and he died at the hands of the Joker. Subsequently, it dealt with his mentor's guilt over having not been able to save Todd until Todd was resurrected and became a new Red Hood, an anti-hero with a willingness to use lethal force and weapons.
That sounds very apt. This
Maybe
family are all about resurrections, but usually it's external ones, like the Jesus one, or, accepting Mole Man's return. But internally, family resurrection isn't big on the whole list.
no, it seems like the only people who die in Springfield are married to Ned.
True.
But Todd is a vigilante, yeah, and this could, of course, be an alternate universe. It could be in the Radioactive Man universe.
It could. Or the Bongo cast.
Yes, Bongoverse. Shall we
Bongoverse.
do some Todd art?
Yes.
So, you tell me what you can see here.
I believe it is the footballer Mo Salah,
Who plays for Liverpool? Yes.
who is he looks like Christ on the cross, but with the very human face of Todd Flanders.
He has the face and body. He has the posture of Jesus with the face and body and hair of Todd Flanders.
Yeah, he couldn't possibly look. This looks like when we looked at the Mole Man one, and it was like a 3D human rendering. This looks like that, but for Todd. Terrifying. Was it made out of bronze?
Yeah, and it seems at this point that people might know that and they think, I could do an actual model of Mo Salah that looks like him, but if I do such a thing, I'm not going to get internet fame because it's just going to be a fairly standard one. Or that Cristiano Ronaldo statue where he looks like he's got like a donut face. I got a little bit of an inkling that people these days are like, well, I could either do an average one or I could do one incredibly badly. I'm not sure who
I
did.
think they've chosen the latter.
Hats off to the creator of this. And now we come to yours. Would you like to describe the one you just sent to me?
I think you should.
So what it looks like is a Princess Diana's face, but with her hair made out of spaghetti with prawns in them, and someone has made her a big Todd Flanders style devil's curly hair afro, and it says "the people" on it as well.
Yeah, this is a commemorative plate, I believe, of the People's Princess.
The Queen of all our hearts.
Yeah, so it's a very Maud trajectory. Yeah, I think you can do fun things with it, with food and the fact that her face is in the middle of the plate. And this is one of two examples. That picture's ridiculous. This is one of two examples where she looks like Todd. The other one was done using MASH. Yeah, I think it's special.
As the Radiohead might say, so effing special. Well, she was the queen of all of our hearts, spaghetti hair or otherwise. And it is chilling and thrilling to see just how close she looks to both Mo Salah and Flanders, just by simply giving her spaghetti hair.
Yes.
My second, I'm going to show you a bunch of work by Todd. Todd, under his name of Mark Todd, he makes fake album covers, and the one here looks a bit like Freddie Mercury playing the drums, but he's called Shirtless Bob, Double the Album. So I'm just going to scroll through a few of these, and if you see any that you like, this is from the website It's Nice That.
They look like they've been done by you. They
do look like something I would do, but this dude has put more time and more effort into doing them, and this one, Tender Trap. So basically, the Worrywarts, I'm not so sure about this. Soulless Sweater Songs.
Soulless Man.
What's he called?
Soulless Man.
Soulless Man Sweater Songs. On the KTEL label. The Sweet and Lows sing the new hits.
That's my favourite so far.
Sweet and Lows.
Just for the additional 3 band names.
That's David Letterman there, right, isn't it?
It does look like him a lot.
And aren't they all...
The middle one also looks a bit like Letterman with red hair, though, especially the mouth.
We got Shirtless Bob, we got Ray Mustard, It's the Gift That Counts. Mystery Robots, Impression in Jazz by Leon Feather. I could go on and on, but anyway, this is what Todd does in his free time, so good work, Todd. It's good to see that he's out there making art, whether it's self-portrait in spaghetti or self-portrait as Mo Salah or Jimmy Shank's Gas Attack.
Yes.
Curtis.
I think the first one was called Get the Funk Out.
That one is called No More Bull by Lester Sugar. And then if we go down here, the Three Funks, Get the Funk Out, Beat Freak, Co-Records. All in all, well done, Todd. Mark Todd. And I've got one last thing that I want to ask you, which is not, this is our first science art. It's not art, it's science. This is from the family correlates of fruit and vegetable consumption in children and adults, a systematic review. As obviously we know, Todd was scarred by his interactions with broccoli and so forth. This was published by the Cambridge University Press. Pearson, Biddle, and Gorley. Real name is apparently. I'm going to ask you a question. It's a flow chart to do with vegetable usage. Give me a number between 1 and 2.
2.
Satisfied inclusion criteria, N 60 papers. You chose 2, which is 38 papers of adolescents of 12 to 18 years were reviewed. Give me a choice between 1 and 3.
2.
The outcome variable of a composite measure of fruit, juice, and vegetable consumption was identified in 15 samples.
Wow. I'm
not sure if Pearson, Biddle, and Gorley have really have explained themselves enough there. If any of you are listening, any three of you are listening, get in touch with us, Pearson, Biddle, or Gorley, and just explain to us what this flowchart's trying to prove here with its outcome of variable of fruit consumption. To be honest, I was expecting something more like, do you like broccoli?
This seems more 15. 15 out of how many?
55.
Oh, that's quite low.
It doesn't say what the... It basically says that some of those, 15 of those 55 adolescents did something with fruit juice or vegetable consumption. Unclear.
I see.
It's unclear as to what they were. So again, I implore you, Gorley, Biddle, or Pearson, if you're out there, get in touch and fill us in. So that's it. That's the Toddcast.
Yes.
It took us through some wildly unapologetically fraught situations, but we learned a lot.
Yeah, Todd is a different guy to who I thought he was going into this.
I'd like to finish up with a description from a reputable source, the Urban Dictionary. Todd likes shovels. He is a nice guy with amazing eyes who is buff and not too tall. He is sporty, but is loyal to just one sport that he loves. He has an amazingly sexy voice and is such a people person and has friends all over the place. Not the hottest guy you'll meet, but still hot. He makes up for it in personality. Thank you, Urban Dictionary.
That's the Todd we know.
Girl 1. Todd is always there for me, like the time when Logan tried to punch me. Girl 2. Todd is always there for everyone I love. So let's send the spiders back to their nest. Let's send the cat back to their catnip and the mouse off to their mouse hole to continue their medieval magic spells or whatever else is going on. Shall we wrap this up with a song?
Let's.
Okay, who's going first?
You.
Homer bounces off the floor and Todd is looking down.
Many, many gifts.
Behind him is a wolf in a white suit and top hat.
Todd's name meaning is fox and the associated lucky number is 7.
While the wolf who's wearing a monocle is pushing him into the fists of the dogs.
In German, Todd means death.
Sprawling to the floor. Death follows him. Jim can't muster any emotion.
The name Todd is derived from the Northern Middle English word todder, which means fox.
The devil's curly hair is back. Your love is weird and toxic.
It only took 22 years for Todd to land a position on the top 100 list of most commonly used boys' names.
Offense taken. Offense taken. Jesse, no! Walter does not move.
Since 1880, a total of 279,676 boys have been given the name Todd. All of them Todd.
I think Mr. Benjamin might have something to say about that.
Correct spelling for the English word Todd is Todd.
That old devil dick. Driver floors the car. Richard, stop the car! Gail is screaming. Richard screaming, I love you!
Bethany Platt.
Mo Salah.
The end.
The end. Well, odds, murder, dreams, anthropomorphic dogs, spiders, Kurt Vonnegut. What more could one ask for?
We were all in this together.
We're all in this together. There's only one Todd, and his name is Todd. All Todd. All right. Well, whatever the end music's going to be, goodbye.
Bye.
And it was all.
Hey,
Aha! Are you going to reveal to people this was all an April Fool's joke?
it was a prank.
It was a prank.
We got you.
Now, if you're not listening to this before 12 o'clock, then we're the fools.
Yeah, that's true. In some way, we are all the fools.